County, Joco Community Radio. From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio. From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio.
Let's be honest, wheelchairs are heavy, bulky, and ugly. If you carry a wheelchair in your car to take care of a loved one, you know how hard it is getting that clunky, old-style wheelchair in and out of your car. Introducing the Feather Chair Wheelchair. At 13 pounds, it's the world's lightest wheelchair. It folds in seconds and fits neatly in your trunk, backseat, or closet, so you can take it everywhere. And it's only available right here. Order yours today and get a free wheelchair case, a $50 value, yours free. The Feather Chair. The world's lightest wheelchair is just $4.99 with easy payments as low as $16 a month. Sorry, no Medicare or insurance accepted. So call right now to order yours.
800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. That's 800-823-5826.
Wilfred Brimley for Loafing Dog.
I'm Wilfred Brimley for Loafing Dog. You know, when I get the hankering for a hot dog, I go to Cleveland, Texas. Just a couple blocks off the square, they got Loafing Dog. They got the Neely Dog, the Mary Sunshine Dog, the Casey Dog, and the Shirley Dog. Why, they even got the Pacer Dog, the Brooklyn Dog, and the Jim Dog. Can't forget the Shane Dog, or the Joy Dog, and the Monty Dog. I like that fool. The Nakia Dog and the Braxton Dog round things off. Why, they even got a kids menu too.
Loafing Dog, 208 East Chambers Street, Cleveland, Texas. Lunch, catering, or takeout, plus outdoor seating. Phone number is 817-556-1040.
This is Wilfred Brimley. And don't forget, Loafing Dog won't give you diabetes.
Hey, there's something you forgot to do. It sure is hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-9379, or look them up on the web, sharpwindowtint.com.
If you're trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581. Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
You're listening to Joco Community Radio.
This is me. Good evening and welcome to No Judgment here. I am your host, Tish Ross. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Mental Health Month raises awareness of trauma and the impact it can have on the physical, emotional, and mental well-being of children, families, and communities. Mental Health Month was established in 1949 to increase awareness of the importance of mental health and wellness in Americans' lives, and to celebrate recovery from mental illness. Mental health is essential for a person's overall health. Prevention works, treatment is effective, and people can recover from mental disorders and live full and productive lives. As I was reading, 4 types of mental illness are anxiety disorders, personality disorders, psychotic disorders such as schizophrenia, eating disorders. Some of the warning signs are excessive paranoia, worry, anxiety, depression, long-lasting sadness or irritability, social withdrawal, dramatic changes in eating and sleeping patterns. Some of the causes of mental health can be child abuse trauma or neglect, experiencing social isolation, loneliness, discrimination or racism. Social disadvantages may be things like poverty or debt, bereavement, loss of loved ones, severe or long-term stress, and having a long-term illness. Today in my show, I have the privilege and the honor of speaking with 5 women who have so bravely agreed to come on and share. I want to stress that No Judgment here is just that, that I am not here to shame or put these women up on some sort of pedestal or to make fun of, to belittle. That's not what the show is about. Exploit is the word I was trying to think. That's not what this show is about. It's about people coming on, sharing their stories, and so to possibly help other people know that they are not alone, and for others to not feel shame or guilt. So we're going to go ahead and get started. This is a 2-hour special, so you guys hang in here with me. We're going to start with the trauma. I'm going to also read the number here to the show in case you want to call and ask one of my guests a question. So jot this down. It is 817-637-2585. Again, that is 817-637-2585. We're going to start. We have a lot. We're going to start actually our first hour. If you're listening, please make sure that you're sharing this with others. You never know who is walking around, maybe walked past you today, and you have no idea what they are going through. A lot of us are really great actresses or actors, and people would never know that we were going through the things that we've gone through. In fact, the women that are sitting in this room, everyone looks like just your everyday, average, normal human being. You would never guess some of the things that they have shared with me that they have gone through. So the first hour will be talking about what you are struggling with, how it started, and the second hour we'll talk about moving into healing and what that looks like. So we're going to start right over here. Let me see what's going on. Thank you, Mike Ross. He says there's no video. I'm going to go ahead and start, and I'm going to work on this video. Okay. To my right, I'm going to let each of my guests introduce themselves and go ahead and start with what you're battling or what you battled.
Okay. So my name is Crystal Griffin, and I have battled with depression since I was probably about 14 when it first started. And it is something that I always continue to struggle with, and I do take medication for it. And that is what I deal with in my everyday life. And
we're going to dive deep as each person introduces themselves. So tell us about this depression and what your battle was and the suicide attempt, all the things.
So when my first, I guess, depression episode was when I was 14. A little life background. I didn't have a perfect family, but I had great parents, lived in a great town, was popular in school, really nothing to complain about. Instead of maybe like getting in trouble for, talking too much. Overall, a pretty good life. And I just got depressed. There was no warning signs. It was more feeling like I didn't belong in the world, not having anybody to go to. And I was technically committed to an inpatient facility for the first time when I was 14 for a week. So that was when I had ongoing counseling, and I was only able to go to school and go back to the facility.
So for all the young kiddos that are listening now or may listen, or even parents that are listening now, at 14, I mean, again, like we were chatting earlier, that seems like such a young age to be admitted or committed or whatever the word.
Right.
How did you remember how you felt?
I don't remember exactly how I felt. I know my parents were extremely nervous. I didn't know how to handle anything. I remember only being allowed to have like 2 people in my family even able to call and talk to me. So my phone calls would be listened, just so they knew other people couldn't speak into whatever I was dealing with. But it just felt like I did not belong.
And you had mentioned earlier, and I'm sorry, I was kind of zoned out for just a second because I was trying to get our video on. It's on now, but you had a normal childhood. You had good parents, no abuse.
Nope.
So at 14, you had, prior to that, were feeling sad all the time. Nothing could make you happy.
No, I was really happy. It just all hit at once. It was just like a bomb for me. And that's how, with my depression as an adult, usually happens even with my latest depression, I call it episodes. It's like a bomb that just goes off. And then it's like, whew, okay, here we are. Time to figure this out, get out of it.
And we're going to talk about what you do to get out of that the next hour. I don't want to jump ahead, but so you had mentioned that you were a cheerleader, you were active in school. Excuse me. And so what led to your suicide attempt? At what age, and how did you try to take your life?
So my suicide attempt was later in life when I was 21. I had gotten involved in the wrong crowd, which was not a normal thing for me, but I was a fun party girl, started getting mixed up in drugs, which is something I never thought would have happened in my life. Got really sucked into it, sucked down. I was so ashamed to turn to my family, to my parents. At this time, I was living in Maryland when my parents were in Texas, so nobody knew anything. And my drug of choice was cocaine. And for anybody who knows me, I'm a bubbly person, so it's not like it changed the way that I handled my everyday life. And that bomb went off to where I just felt like it would be easier not to be here for my family, to not have to see like what I was going through and the choices that I was making, like the shamefulness, just feeling like there was no other way out. And so I OD'd on pills and cocaine. And a friend actually, the hair on his arm stood up, and he came to my apartment, and I was on the ground, and he called the ambulance. And I was pretty much almost gone at that point. Got to the hospital. I had to drink charcoal to get everything up. The doctors then told him, my aunt, who I was living with at the time, to call my parents, my brother and sister, and everybody flew up. And I had probably about 24 hours to live at that point. So the priest was there. My family got there. Everybody said their goodbyes. and they had to leave for the evening. And I woke up, and the doctors have no medical reason of why I made it through the night.
And something that you said that was extremely profound to me is that you were not supposed to make it. They had told your family that you were not going to make it. The priest was there, obviously, but you woke up.
I did.
And some of the feelings that you shared were feelings of you felt guilty for putting your family through that? Or
Yes, I've always said, and of course, I obviously feel very strongly about the topic of suicide and wish I could do more for people who feel this way, because seeing the doctors tell your parents and your family that you're not going to make it and the reason why, and then just begging, like, why didn't you come to us? We would have helped you. This, why weren't just, you should have called us. And the tears and just the scared look in their face of everything was out of their control, and they just wished they could have had me back, because then at that time they didn't think they were going to.
So you as a parent now,
yes,
can you understand their feings? I mean, could you put yourself in their shoes and your daughter?
Oh, I would do anything for her. And she's only 7. But thinking like my first episode would be in 7 more years for her if, this gets passed down to her. And so when I hear stories about parents weren't supportive or things like that, it breaks my heart, because I just want to be like, somebody's there. My parents would have, had I had gone to them. But I wish people who either their attempt goes through, or maybe if they attempted and it didn't, not everybody gets that chance to see their family right before you may be going to heaven. It's pretty impactful to realize how that should not be an option.
And so I feel like at such a young age, and in the ages these days, in the news, on Facebook, on social media, that a lot of kids are unfortunately taking their lives by way of suicide. And I think for a lot of kids, even being molested, the shame I think that we feel like we're going to put on our parents if we tell them that I've been doing drugs or Uncle so-and-so molested me, that we would rather not disappoint them or embarrass them or make them realize that I'm not the kid that they thought I was, or the child that they raised. I'd rather just end it instead of tell them. So what do you want to say to children that are thinking that?
That I think when they go to attempt suicide, you think of the word attempt, but your attempt can always go through, and it's not an attempt anymore. You've committed suicide. You're no longer here. And I think for a lot of people, obviously, I am not a suicidal expert. It's a cry for help, and we have to find another way to teach these kids how to get help before they feel like that's it, because it's not it.
Exactly.
And we don't teach that. We don't teach that there's maybe like your school counselor. She's not just there to help talk to you because you got in trouble or you need help with schoolwork. Like, they are there for your best interest in life and for health for any age.
Absolutely. Thank you, Crystal.
You're welcome.
All right.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. I am a little bit all over the place, but I have struggled with mental health issues from about the age of 14 as well. I had a lot of things going on in my life at the time that kind of triggered it, from my mom getting married to feeling like an outcast, just felt like nobody wanted me. From there, I've kind of bounced all over the place with anxiety, depression, suicidal tendencies, thoughts, tries. I don't know. It's just a lot.
So, kind of elaborate a little bit on why did you feel, if you can remember, why did you feel like you were an outcast? I mean, do you remember what was going on in your life that you felt like nobody cared about you?
Originally, it had probably stemmed from being only child, pretty much getting whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted.
Mhm.
Golden platter child at first. Then when my mom married, I became an instant middle child. He had his kids that he had custody of. So it went from like a 2-person household to 5, like overnight.
Big change.
Yes, I really didn't know them. They didn't know me. And then here I was in junior high trying to find my own self. And, it just kind of, kids within the bullying in school. I was friends with everybody, but I was at the same time just kind of like my own person and dealing with my own battles. And I didn't know how to express myself because I never had to express myself before, because it was one of those like, oh, well, I'm not feeling good. I'm not like feeling up to par mentally. Oh, let's go buy something new. Mom, I need this. Grandma, I need that. So that's kind of like whenever it just kind of changed overall, was probably whenever my mom ended up getting married, and then I just wasn't the only anymore.
That's a big change.
Yes.
That's huge. And so for people that don't know that, I mean, it's even good tips for parenting, and that people, blended families, really need to sit and discuss and hear the feelings, validate feelings of the children that are getting ready to be blended together.
Right.
I mean, especially going from being an only child to then the middle child, and then not even knowing your siblings to be, and all that. That's a lot of change. And so from childhood and that happening, your mom getting married and going from only child to blended family, what next?
I started acting out. I ended up, which I didn't even tell you before. I don't even know why it just popped in my head. But for a while after all of that started happening, I went to an inpatient rehab. But right after I got out of there, I ended up going and living with my grandparents for about a year, and trying to get my life straight and trying to mentally focus on where I needed to be. And then whenever I finally moved back home after being in girls' homes and my grandparents, then it just still was not working out. So about the age of 15, I kind of just started doing my own thing and ended up pretty much on my own, and decided I was grown, wanted to move out. So then I really had nobody but me. It just, yeah.
And so why were you in a girls' home?
Because nobody wanted me, I felt like. I started acting out. So whenever I became that instant middle child, I didn't know how to control everything. And so my grandparents tried to help, but they couldn't. Teenage mood swings, everything else. So Abilene actually has Hendrick Home for Children. They are an amazing, faith-based organization. And I was there for probably a semester of my 9th grade year. And then I just decided it wasn't for me, because there was all these other girls there. Everybody else had their own issues, and I still wasn't used to the sharing. It was still, I needed focus on me, and it just wasn't working out. So,
and that's so hard at that age, in junior high and then middle school, freshman. There are so many developmentally changes. I mean, you're moving from middle school to high school, and you went from being an only child to the middle child. And then, I think that, kind of like Crystal said, we are not teaching enough to our children to be able to express themselves. And I think it's even getting worse because of social media, because of cell phones. Now people are not even having face-to-face conversations, which is adding to the mental disabilities. People don't know how to express themselves even now. Maybe that's why the suicide rate is starting to climb, because children are so used to having their face in the phone that they don't know how to express themselves in person. And then hence leads them to feeling like they're alone or nobody understands them. And so you also attempted suicide?
Yes. So I have a few different times. First, it was with pills. I would try to take all of my sleeping pills because I have insomnia. So I have those on a regular basis in my hand at all times. And I thought, well, if I just go to sleep and never wake up, it'd be better. Like I don't have to deal with this emotional things that are going on that I don't know how to handle. And it never, I guess, for a good thing, it never worked. It just made me really sick and then made me really regret it. Because then, whenever I was in sound mind again, I was like, well, I really didn't want to do that. But at that time, it was like a little birdie in the back of my head just saying, just what good are you? Nobody wants you. You don't need to be here. There's no purpose for you. But whenever I would come back around, it's like, why? I'm here for a reason. What is my purpose? And that's actually, I have a tattoo that I got tattooed on me, like, I chose you. Well, what was I chosen for? I'm still trying to figure that out to this day. But so between, with the suicide attempts, was mainly with pills. There was one time that I ended up trying to suffocate myself. That one was a hard one because it's like you're fighting for air, but yet you just don't want to stop. But I'm thankful that I'm still here. Those were the attempts. I have still, off and on battled with, the suicidal tendencies. Like, why? Like, I just, what am I doing? Like, do I want to be here? Does anybody care if I'm gone? Who would it affect? Those are the things that kind of like whenever I get into one of those episodes, that starts going off in my head.
And I want to next hour find out what you do to make them stop. And I know that you still struggle with that. I mean, I know that even recently you said 5 years ago you had even contemplated suicide. And so I want to know, and I want our listeners to hear, how do you make that stop? Because you've got some great news in terms of what you've accomplished.
Yes, I do.
And we all have a purpose. And even at my age, mid 50s, there are still times when I think, what is my purpose? Why am I here? I think a lot of women, maybe men, go through, I don't like the word midlife crisis. I really feel like people are seasonally trying to figure out, why am I here? From a kid to a teenager to an adult and to an older adult. What is my purpose? Why am I here? And I really don't think it's that. I don't know what my purpose is. I really think for me, it's like I've just come up with this conversation that I have with God is, God, what's next? What do you want me to do next? Not what is my purpose, because you created me and there is purpose. When I finish in a season of what I feel like I've fulfilled, then there are times when I kind of start to spiral down, but then I have to go back to God and say, God, I'm starting to spiral down and I need to know what is next, because we all have purpose. We were created for a reason. So thank you for sharing, Stephanie. Nataliia.
Hi, my name is Nataliia Hays, and as you hear my accent, I'm from Ukraine. 13 years I'm living here in Burleson, but as you see on news, in my home land, it's war. So I deal with war in my home country for 75 days. And you try to find strength to keep going and help people who is fighting there for their life. It's active shooting and bombing, and my family is still there. My dad, my stepdad, my cousins, my friends, my classmates, all my family there except, me here, and my mom come visit. on January 5th, and she's supposed to go back on March 20th, and she's with us. In one way, I'm very blessed, 3 generations of my family here, but what I'm dealing with, it's, as you can see, it's hurt every day because my mom didn't choose to be here. My mom doesn't speak English. My mom has a husband over there. She wants to be there, but she can't go. So every day I just wake up and I hope to hear their voice over there from Ukraine and to keep going and find help to collect humanitarian aid and military support and go on rallies and go on TVs and radios and speak out for my country, because I know it's my pain because I'm from there and my family there, but many people in this world doesn't know, or maybe doesn't care, I don't know, but sometimes it's guilt of survival, like survival.
We're going to come back
Guilt.
and we're going to let you take a little break, and we will be back in just a minute so that Nataliia can continue, and then we'll hear from our other two guests. We'll be right back.
At Romika Designs, we're more than just a laser engraving and specialty design company. Much more. I'm Ron Phillips, co-owner of Romika Designs, and if you can dream it, we can probably make it. We can custom laser cut and engrave on nearly all material. Great for one-of-a-kind gifts, home decor, business and specialty items, or personalized and logoed designs created just for you or your company. Allow us to become your go-to gift and specialty project partner. Romika Designs can help make your ideas a reality. We're ready to help you design and create that special gift for any occasion, or engrave your personal or business logo on just about any product. View our designs at romikadesigns.com or simply email us with your ideas. We specialize in custom design and would be honored to have the opportunity to discuss it with you. Call us at 817-400-4040, email info@romikadesigns.com, or visit us on the web at romikadesigns.com.
Out of dead carpet giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the Floor Store in Cleveland, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the Floor Store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the Floor Store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleveland, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give him a call today at 817-641-9444. The Floor Store, they got you covered. When you're hungry for tender brisket or some delicious homemade cobbler, then look no further than Leech Brothers Barbecue, located at 1106 East Henderson, Cleveland, Texas. Leech Brothers has been family-owned and operated since 1950. Take it from me, Taco Joe Orwinski. Todd and his family have been filling my belly breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a long time. Heck, I even have my own booth, open Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come see them for dine-in, carry out, and all your catering needs.
The voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio.
We are back. Joco Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and is live 365 days a year on the TuneIn Radio Network. To listen or watch, simply go to tuneinjoco.com to choose where and how. The Joco Community Radio app is now available for free on Android and Apple devices. Simply search your store. Check out our lineup and more on jococommunityradio.com. This episode and more brought to you by Patriot Claims, making your insurance work for you. Reach out to your Texas sales rep, Nona Reed, at 844-839-4245. That's 844-839-4245. We are back. Gosh, thank you guys for joining us. And I would appreciate, and I know these ladies would appreciate it, if you would share this show so that people, okay, thank you, Mike. People that are listening or may not know that we are talking or speaking on this subject will hop on. We're coming back with Nataliia so that Nataliia can continue on with her story. And Nataliia, one of the things that I want to say is, sorry, I'm texting that the screen is not showing again. Okay. And Nataliia, what I wanted to say is, while all of the trauma that the women in here have suffered and continue to battle, yours is very present in terms of it's
going on
right now.
Yes.
And to be a person, to be a woman that is waking up every day with her father in Ukraine, her mother here who doesn't speak any English, and for you to be in a position of trying to keep your mother, who is longing for her husband and doesn't know minute by minute if he's going to be alive. Your father, you don't know minute by minute, is he going to be alive? Are they going to bomb where he is living? Your mom wanting to be there for your dad, but your mom is also here. Like you said, it's a blessing and also kind of a curse maybe to be here and not know if your dad is going to make it the next minute, and your mom wondering if her husband is going to make it the next minute. And you are in the middle, struggling to try to keep your mother upbeat, but also going through silently your own feelings of emotion and pain. So continue. You were sharing that is the place that you're in right now.
Yeah. So as I try to explain for you, from day one, you try to do whatever you can do. So you proactive. So you go and, you're screaming for help. You find, to find help for people there, because on the scale, what we're living here, what we're dealing here and there, it's about life or death. And I was very active. So I was going on every rally. I was going on radios. I was going on TVs everywhere, so bring more awareness and find help. So at one point, I just feel like I'm just going so down. I can't deal with all this anymore. So I start to look for help, because I feel like I lost myself. So I'm looking for help for others, and it's easier to find help for others sometimes than for yourself. Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned before, all our previous speakers, we have some stuff what we were dealing in a young age, and I have it as well, some of these. And so when you don't pay attention on yourself, or you think you don't need or something, you will never ask for help. But I'm at this point, I understand how important it is, because my son is 14. And he was the one who come to my bedroom and wake me up and said they're bombing our city. So from day one, I understand what my son dealing as well, because his friends there as well. Mm-hmm. So for me to, be strong for my son, for myself, for my mom and people of Ukraine, I need to take care of my mental health. And, at one point I start to look for help, Of course, church, and, because I was speaking about issue in Ukraine, I went to different churches, and everybody very nice and invite, everywhere I go, they invite, come and visit us. But at one point I feel it's not enough. I need some more professional help. So I start to go to therapies and, share about, what bother me, so I can sleep, constantly. And as you can imagine, like, if you imagine World War II, they didn't have what we have right now, Facebooks and Telegrams and everything. So right now we constantly see all this news. We constantly checking what's going on. We call our relatives there. So our mind wasn't created for all this. It's too much information. If before it was maybe lack of information, you don't know. But right now you wake up and you go to check if they're still alive. And I'm from there, and I know many people there. So I was constantly checking on everybody. Are you alive? Are you alive? And many people was running from the country, and you checking if they made to other countries. So over here, you can't live normal because every time you see happy people, you feel like, you know, how people can be happy when war over there, when people
Yes.
die in there. I can't see kids anymore, you know, around me because it's almost 250 kids killed in the war in Ukraine. And it's all, but again, it's what I try to say, you need to accept for yourself and go find help. No matter what you're dealing with, no matter what you think, you know, you're good or bad with this, but mental health, it's very, very important, and we need to seek help. If any first, you know, symptoms, you don't sleep well, you know, like you feel your leg shaking, you feel your mind, like you never stop thinking. It's like constantly something going on, or those birds like cheer, cheer, cheer in your head. So any of symptoms you feel like you're not like yourself, it's something weird, it's okay to find help, and never feel like, for example, if someone has a cancer, we kind of understand and we like, oh yeah, you know, this poor person, we need to help. But mental health, you can't not see maybe symptoms or on other people or something what people dealing. So I'm asking just all people who can hear us today, if you deal with something in your head, in your feelings, in your heart, in you may be not sleeping well, or you may be constantly worried, or maybe, you know, all these thoughts about, you know, you don't need to be here, or maybe it's not purpose. Because at one point for me, it was, you know, point when I start to think, you know, what the purpose of all this? Our country can be next. Because
Yes.
Putin always telling about this, you know, he will push the button and we all die. So there isn't to fight for all this. And as many of you mentioned, you know, I've always looked at my son and, you know, finding, you know, the reason to find help for myself. And also when I start to see therapists, I invite my son as well, because he's dealing his battle as well at this point. He was born there, he has friends, and friends telling him also in
Yes.
real time. And sometimes when they don't answer for him like 3-5 days, he's like, Mom, will I see Sasha again? I can't answer anything. I don't know. Some of them still, you know, hiding under buildings. And if you see on news when they're shooting and bombing, all this just collapses. And some people, you know, just still under over there. Some people try to leave from Ukraine in the car and they just shooting them and people just die. So it's
too much.
It's too much.
It's too much. And I think that you hit the nail on the head when you said that people with cancer, you can see, you know, that they're weak or that they're ill, or that they're on chemo, and we are supporting them and we know that they're sick. But it's everyday people that are walking around just like you women that are in this room that I could look at and think, no way, there's no way that you are battling this or that. And when we do ask for help, this is why I wanted to talk about this, is to break the shame and the stigma. Because the minute a person says, I'm going to go see a therapist, people are like, what is wrong with you? There's something wrong with you, or what happened to you? That it's not only do we already feel, or a lot of people feel ashamed because they feel like there's a lot going on in my head and I can't deal and I can't handle. I need to go speak to someone. Not only do some of us feel guilty or bad or ashamed for that, but then also socially, the world has created this unfortunate makeup of a person that there's something wrong with you because you're seeking therapy, or because you're on medication, or because you can't function. So that was such a beautiful point, that if you are feeling even the slightest, if you can't sleep, you're not able to eat, you can't think straight, the only way to be able to function is if you go and seek help. And it's okay to, there's no shame. And if people are shaming you for that, that's their issue. But we have to take care of ourselves in order to take care of others. Thank you, Nataliia, for sharing.
And can I probably one point I would like to share? Some people probably like me, like I don't have insurance. And, you know, I don't have money, and I try, you know, as much as I save, I try to send to Ukraine. So I was worried about money. So you can find free services for sure. Please just go check free counseling, free therapy, free, it's a lot of organizations what will help you. Don't stop finding ways to help yourself if it's no insurance or no money. Believe me, it's people who willing to help you.
Yes. And even if you go to a church and you speak with just speaking to somebody, and then, like you said, maybe getting some direction in terms of finding a place that you don't have to have money to get help. And I also want to let my listeners know that if you have a comment or a question, you can post them in the comments here. I'm watching them. Mike Ross says, "I'm so sorry, Nataliia. Please know that we support you and your country during this horrific time." If you have questions or comments, you can place them in the comment section on this thread on Joco Community Radio, and I can ask our guests the questions. You can also call if you have a question or you want to share some love or support with any of my guests. Write this number down, 817-637-2585. Again, that's 817-637-2585. We're going to move on to my next guest. I want you to introduce yourself and share.
Hi, my name is Kate, and the thing that I probably struggle with the most is my bipolar. It all probably started when I was 11. My brother passed away in a horrific car accident, and that probably is what catapulted me into having mental health issues. I went to a new school, people bullied me, and life kind of just snowballed effect after that, and stuff just still affects me to this day.
Like how?
Life just bothers me. I let things get to me like they shouldn't, and it just, like she said, just things happen in your mind, and it's just all becomes too much.
How did your brother pass?
It was 4th of July weekend. He was drunk in the bed of the pickup truck, and him and my other brother were arguing. He picked up the beer keg to try and throw it out onto the highway, and he fell out and got hit by a car. Yeah.
And did you go to the hospital to?
Yeah. Yeah. And I really don't remember like a whole lot. The only thing I remember is just being in like this room with like all of our family and like everybody crying, and then somebody coming in and saying he's gone, and then everybody just screaming. That's really the only thing I remember. And then my cousin walked me up to the top of the hospital, and I just hung out. And yeah, I don't remember a lot of it.
Yeah, that's so traumatic. Yeah. Do you think that, and I ask everybody this, but do you think that that is maybe God's way of protecting your brain?
Yeah.
That,
No,
it's just
I don't
great
remember
trauma.
a lot of things from my childhood and my teenage life, and I think definitely my brain protecting me.
Absolutely. And so what do you struggle with now?
I'm definitely bipolar. I have to be on medication. If I'm not on medication for a couple of days, I'm very, very up, and I'm on top of the world, and I have a God complex, and nobody can bring me down. And then the next couple of days, the littlest thing can happen, and I just want to die. Just drive my car off a bridge.
And so, like I've asked everyone that has thought about or attempted to commit suicide, what are your thoughts when you think, why do you think, I'm going to ask you this, why do you think that the world would be better off without you?
It's not that the world would be better off without me. It's that I don't want to put up with stuff anymore.
Okay.
I don't want to deal with stuff anymore. So it's me not wanting to be here anymore. I don't feel like the world would be affected if I left or not. It's me not wanting to be here.
Okay. That makes more sense. Where you think that
I'm tired of dealing with it. Type thing.
Okay. And so when we come back, or when we start the second hour of the show, I want to know, I'm very curious, especially with you, Kate, like, how do you deal with it now? There are many things that you are dealing with. One is forever will deal with the loss of your brother. And I know that because I've lost my son as well. And it's daily. It's a daily thought.
And then in 2020, I believe, or 2021, my aunt ended up committing suicide. So that's a whole. I've dealt with it since I was like 11, and then my aunt, without any signs,
Mm.
took her own life. So deal with that regularly too.
So in hindsight, or thinking back, has your mom or anyone in the family, so you say there were like no signs of your aunt, has anything come up with, okay, now or just none?
Nothing.
So
Still
see,
to
that's
this
very
day.
frightening, and that's why I think that for all of us, that the lines of communication, and when I say with Mental Health Awareness Month, check on your people, to really, and I'm not talking about a phone call or a text, I'm talking face to face. Let's go out and have lunch, or face to
Check on your
face.
people.
Check on your people, because you never, and ask, are you okay? Is everything?
And people can look you in your face and smile and lie and say everything's fine.
Absolutely.
Check on your people.
Mhm. Man, it's a lot. And how old are you?
I'm only 22.
I was gonna say, you're so young, and you've had so much to deal with at such a
And I regularly still
age.
deal with it.
Mhm. And so when you say that on a daily basis, what is it when you say I regularly deal with it? What do you deal with day to day?
It's just I feel like my mind is what wants me dead. I all the time talk about how if it was possible to have a brain transplant, I would be the first person on the list, because I genuinely think that my brain and me aren't clicking, and like it's genuinely like a chemical. That's why I'd say I have to take medicine every day, because it genuinely is. It's not just, oh, this is just something that you want. Like, it's a genuine chemical imbalance in your brain. You have to take medicine for it, for your brain to function like a normal human being.
So you shared, and I'm not going to say names, but you shared that sometimes people accuse you, or they say you're choosing to be this way. You're choosing to live in your sadness. Because I know that there are many people that I personally know that have for years are still, I hate to use the word stuck, but this isn't a choice. You don't want to be like this.
Oh my gosh, if I wish to God I didn't wake up every day and want to kill myself. That it's heavy. And I'm tired. So no, I don't wish this. If I was, and that's just not who I see myself being as a person. You know who I am as a person. I'm super bubbly. I'm super outgoing. So this thing that I deal with all the time, no, I don't want this.
Right.
That's why I'm actively trying to find the medication, because I was on the right, but you have to constantly be changing it. So it's just a matter of finding the right thing that works for you. That's why I'm actively trying, because no, I don't want to be like this.
I don't think anybody wakes up wanting to, I remember, because I struggled with extreme anxiety. I remember waking up, and I'm going to read some comments that we have actually. One of them was my husband. I remember waking up, and we both woke up one morning. I'm on medication as well, daily, every day. And I asked him, what does it feel like to wake up normal? What does it feel like to wake up and be you? Like, wake up and be happy. Like, wake up and think, what is the day going to be like? Or does anybody wake up like that? Do you wake up thinking, my day? I mean, because I would wake up and dread the day, thinking, oh gosh, because it was so extreme. Everything. Yes, what's going to happen today? When really I had nothing to be worried about. I get to go to my job. I get the blessing of having a job. I get the blessing of loving my job, having an amazing husband, amazing children, but yet waking up thinking, being anxious, wonder what the day is going to present. And so I asked him, how does it feel to be you? And he was like, I don't know. I mean, it's just
normal to them.
Yes. So I'm going to read some of these comments, and then I want to get to Kaylee. Mike Ross says, I've witnessed and loved people who suffered with depression and anxiety by no fault of their own, needlessly suffering and feeling so alone. There's no shame in seeking help. There are people who are willing to walk through this with you. Oh, Kate Smith, please, please don't suffer this way alone. Please seek help. And she has, and she is. And be open and accepting someone to come along beside you and walk with you. He says, I understand you, Kate. I too have lost someone who took their life. I know that you don't want to be like this, Kate. Please continue to fight. And he did. His wife was bipolar, and she chose to, or couldn't handle, and also I think the struggle was too much for her, that she climbed up to the top of one of the TCC nursing buildings in downtown Fort Worth, and she jumped to her death. The unfortunate thing for, not only did Mike lose his wife, but he had a son who lost his mother. And like you said, Crystal, that waking up, the profound look on the people's faces who was going to be living without you, their daughter, for the rest of their life, was a complete game changer, because then those that are left behind truly suffer from that. So we're going to come back at the next hour, and I want to find out how you deal and what you're doing to deal. I'm going to move to my next guest.
Hi, I'm Kayli Kerr. I have dealt and currently am dealing and will still deal for the rest of my life with severe anxiety and panic disorder. I was 20 years old when I was officially diagnosed. I was rushed to the hospital by my mom thinking I was having a heart attack. And they said, good news, your heart's fine. Bad news, you have this problem. And I was like, what? Because I had never heard of that. I mean, I grew up here in Burleson, quintessential childhood, nothing bad ever happened, minus that pretty much everybody in town knew who my family was, which that's a whole nother thing in and of itself. And this panic anxiety disorder just kind of seemed like it popped up at the time. But as we found out, or I found out later through therapy and stuff like that, lots of things that had happened throughout my life led up to this really massive panic attack that I had at 20, where I had to go to the hospital. And turns out I've been having it since I was about 17 or 18. We just did not know it at the time. And my anxiety manifested itself in lots of different ways. A lot of it was physical. So like, I would get tightness in my chest, which is why I thought I was having a heart attack. My arm would go numb sometimes. I can always tell when I'm about to have a panic attack because I either can't feel my feet or I can't feel my fingers, or like I'll feel like my head's buzzing. And so it would do different things like that. Of course, you have the hyperventilation that comes with it. And it kind of turned me into a shell of a person. You know, here I was 20 years old, sophomore in college, really having nothing to worry about. And all of a sudden, like, my life just kind of flipped on a dime because there's this actual chemical imbalance that's wrong in my brain and I don't know how to fix it. And it's all because of an organ the size of a pea that's doing this, you know? And so I went throughout like the next year of my life really, really mad and frustrated because I was like, it's this thing in my body that I have literally no control over, that I don't understand why it's doing this, and I can't do anything to stop it at this point. They had put me on medication.
So you did talk to your family about the way that you were feeling, because like you said, you had just the best childhood, golden childhood.
Oh, absolutely.
Great parents.
Nothing wrong. Great parents, great grandparents, never had any problems. The worst thing that had happened to me at that point was at 10 years old, my grandpa died. And he was like, I mean, when you say he was on a pedestal, he was on a pedestal with a bright, shiny crown, you know? And so that crushed me. And when that happened, it was kind of like, I told myself, okay, you have to grow up. And at 10 years old, now looking back, that's not a logical thought.
Right.
That's not rational, you know? And so I told myself, you have to grow up. But I never talked to my parents about that. You know, we talked about my grandpa, but we didn't talk about details and things like that. And it was just kind of like, okay, they're not really acting out or anything like that. They're great kids. They're fine. She's fine. Everything's fine. I'm not good with change at all. And that's a huge change at 10 years old. And so it was these things that started happening once we found out what was going on, that, you know, I would talk about different things going on, like, hey, this is this problem that I'm having, but I wouldn't actually talk about it. I would surface level talk. I wouldn't dive deep. And
why?
I don't know. Honestly, I feel like I was just trying to protect myself because at the time, I guess in my head, I mean, a lot of people can go different ways with anxiety. They can try to control like weight or how they look and stuff like that. And mine was just control yourself, be the most perfect version so nobody has anything to pick apart.
Got it. Wow. Okay, we'll be back in just a minute. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and you guys will be back to continue hearing Kaylee's story, and then we're going to talk about how you guys are working to overcome.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, JOCO Community Radio.
Hey, travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
855-325-1820. 855-325-1820. That's 855-325-1820.
Accelerated Graphics and Signs, 101 East Renfro, Sweet Sea in Burleson, Texas, can handle all of your graphic needs. Need a banner or promotional products for your business? They got you covered. T-shirts and caps for your group. All you need to figure out is if you want them screen printed or embroidered. How about some slick graphics on that hot ride to make you stand out from the crowd? Accelerated Graphics and Signs can handle anything you throw at them. Located at 101 East Renfro Street, Sweet Sea in Burleson, Texas, go in and see them. Call them at 817-991-0523 or reach them on the web at www.acceleratedgraphics.net. They are loud and proud and want to serve you. Accelerated Graphics.
Hey, there's something you forgot to do. It sure is hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-9379, or look them up on the web, sharpwindowtint.com.
Why have thousands of aspiring authors teamed up with Christian Faith Publishing to publish their book? Because Christian Faith Publishing is an author-friendly publisher who understands that your labor is more than just a book. We provide authors freedom and flexibility throughout the publishing process, professional book editing, award-winning design, and some of the highest royalty structures in the publishing industry. And as always, you will retain 100% of the rights to your book.
I was looking to find a company that I could trust, one that assisted in the editing process completely.
The most important qualities that I was looking for was a publisher who was honest and upfront, no hidden costs or fees, and owning the rights to my own work.
Christian Faith Publishing will publish, market, and sell your books in all major bookstores, online booksellers, as well as specialty Christian bookstores. Call for your free author submission kit.
800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. That's 800-978-4812.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
You're listening to JOCO Community Radio.
All right, we are back, and we're going to go ahead and continue with Kaylee and hear her story, her battle with anxiety and panic attacks. And the one thing that I really want people that are listening or will even listen later is that you don't have to have gone through something traumatic to be depressed or anxious or to deal with these types of mental illness. And so just because you are in a home where you feel like everything is, you have a great home, you have great parents, that doesn't mean that it's not impossible to struggle with these types of mental illnesses or mental health struggles. And so it is still okay to ask for help because something is chemically not right. And that's kind of your situation, correct?
Yes. Yeah, it was just brain chemicals not being where they were because there was no reason for me to have anxiety. There is no reason for me to have anxiety. There's no rational, logical reason for me to have it, but I have it. And that in and of itself is really hard to understand unless you're in it and you've experienced it, because otherwise people are like, well, you're just freaking out, so calm down. Worst thing to say, in my opinion, to anybody that has any kind of anxiety is just calm down. It's not that big a deal. Nope. It is that big of a deal. Do not tell me to calm down because that's going to make it 1,000 times worse, because they don't understand because they haven't seen it. And I still am very, very, very good about hiding what I'm actually going through and like especially hiding when I'm having an anxiety attack. I have friends at work that they won't even know. And they'll be like, what in the world? And I'll go, oh, I just had a panic attack. And they're like, what? Because I look exactly the same.
And do you think that that is what the sort of misconception or maybe misunderstanding for people that don't suffer with this? I think, well, you can control it and you can hide it. Same with people that commit suicide or attempt to commit suicide. If you can control it while you're in public and you can fake it and hide it, then do you really have issues? Like, how come you can't deal if you can fake it?
Right. And the thing is, we're not that good at faking it because even though it seems like we're doing a really, really, really good job of hiding it, it's the hardest thing to do at that exact moment because you can't control why you're thinking what you're thinking. You're trying to control what you're thinking at the same time. Talk through why you're feeling that way without having, in my case, a physical manifestation of that, either because I'm shaking because I'm cold because my body temperature drops, or fanning myself because I'm frying hot because my body temperature rises, or like I'll sit there and rub my hands because I can't feel my fingers, because it's manifesting itself in its way. And then trying to carry on a regular conversation with someone while trying not to alert them that, hey, I'm not okay right now, and still be present in the conversation. Like, that is a lot harder than it seems like. And it's very exhausting. And I mean, when I was younger, I would get to the point that I would have an anxiety attack and I would have to take my medication and I would literally just crawl into bed and go to sleep because I was so exhausted mentally, physically, and emotionally from that whole situation. Yes, part of it was my medication because that's what it would do. It would calm you down and kind of make you lethargic and like woo-saw out,
Right.
But inside you still have that thought and you still don't understand why you have that thought and you don't have a rational reason for why you have that thought. So it's like your brain is constantly doing like a WebMD search all the time for why do I feel this way? Why do I not understand how I feel about that situation? And, WebMD gives you the worst possible option. So it's like, it's the worst case scenario always happening in your head when it's really something like, what shirt do I wear today?
Yes.
And it can get that bad. So,
and so what are you doing now we want to move into sort of healing and self-care.
Sure.
Are you, do you seek counseling? Have you sought counseling, medication?
I did. First, when I was younger, I did I did quote unquote online therapy. By saying I did it, I did the easiest, least amount of work possible because I was not going to go talk to somebody. Now that I am older and I have matured and gone through life situations, I actually did go seek out a real therapist and a real counselor, and was able to talk about things and not have someone go, well, that's stupid. You shouldn't think that way. They're like, no, that's normal. That's real. That is a real thought. They're not going to believe it's a real thought, but that is a real thought. And I was just like, okay, I'm not crazy, you know, because you literally feel crazy with anxiety and panic disorder. You're like, I just feel absolutely insane. And so, I learned what a lot of my triggers were. I actually have mental triggers and I have physical triggers, especially through food. Caffeine's a huge one with me. If I have too much caffeine, I'll have a panic attack, which is bizarre, but it's true. I learned different ways of coping and dealing with my irrational, I call it my crazy. And the big one is talking. And my mom, I have about a handful of people that can actually tell when I'm not okay. Like they can physically tell when I'm not okay. And 3 of them are my family, my mom, my dad, and my brother. And I talk to her a lot about it because she's actually seen me in my worst possible place I could have been. And I'll look at her, I'm like, I need to let my crazy out. And she goes, go. And she just lets me talk. And she's like, yep, that's not normal, but it's normal for you. And just having that acknowledgement from someone to go, I don't get it, but that's okay because you just need to get it.
Right.
Helps so much.
Yes,
you know?
absolutely.
And especially with the job that I'm in, I see kids that have that whole situation too. And one of the best things that I've learned as well, it's a little technique. I call it the 5 senses. You do 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can smell, 2 things you can taste, 1 thing you can touch. You mix it around however you want. And in between, you have to take a deep breath. And anytime I feel myself going, I'll do it to myself. Okay. I'm like, okay, 5 things I can see. And I'd name them off in my head, take a deep breath. 4 things that I can touch. Okay. Name them off, take a deep breath. And just finding those tricks and those techniques and recognizing what your triggers are so you stay away from them as best as you can, helps so much. And just being able to talk about it because like we said before, the stigma for mental health is why do you have it? You shouldn't have it. You're fine. Deal with it, you know, and it's not a Band-Aid anymore. The Band-Aid has been ripped off. We need to deal with it. Sorry about it. But welcome to our crazy world that we live in, because if we don't recognize it and we don't help people deal with it, whether it just be talking or sitting there holding their hand or letting them have a full-on meltdown, breakdown, cry, which we do sometimes need to do, we're not going to be able to fix it anytime soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
All right, Kate, I want to know what you do daily. I mean, you have a lot that you deal with, that you're dealing with, you know, the loss of your brother, the loss of your aunt, and also the diagnoses of being bipolar. And how are you coping today with everything? What do you do to cope?
Animals. Me as a person, my personality personally, I work at an animal shelter. That helps me so much. And then I have my own dogs and a cat at home. So that is kind of, people all the time say, why are you living for something else? You should live for yourself. And it's like, well, people who have issues like us, that's what you have to do sometimes. You have to live for something else until one day, hopefully, eventually, you'll be able to live for yourself. But as long as you're living for something, whether it be, I used to live for my mom, now it's I live because I have 2 dogs and a cat that if I don't wake up tomorrow morning, if I take all my sleeping pills, because I also have insomnia, if I take all my sleeping pills, go to sleep, and I wake up, who's going to feed the dogs and the cat in the morning? I have animals that depend on me. And they're basically like my children. I don't even call them animals, I call them my kids. So, and I could never leave them. I cry thinking about it. That's one thing that pulls me out of it when I feel suicidal is I could never leave my dogs. They love me too much.
And you have such a gift with animals.
I love
such a gift. I've seen you because you work at a veterinarian office, and you with those unwanted animals. And the bittersweetness when one of them is adopted. I see it in your eyes now. I see it in your eyes now. And so that is such a gift. I mean, it's not even that the animal is a gift to you. It's you are a gift to caring for the animals, that they have that love that you can give, that only you can give. And so what a beautiful person you are. And thank you for being that, because you've gone through so much.
I think that's why God put me on this earth, is to take care of animals.
You know what? I see it. You know, people can see other people's gifts, and I do believe that is one of your gifts. I've seen it. So
that definitely helps me. And then medication. I know people are like, you don't need to take 100%. It helps me. And I'm currently still in the process of finding something that works for me, but it definitely helps me so much.
And I believe that it's whatever works for everybody.
And everything works different for everybody.
Absolutely.
Something's different for everybody. Nothing's the same for everybody.
Exactly. And being a person that takes medication every day for anxiety, I wish I didn't have to take it. And there's that those moments in time when I'm feeling so good that I think, you know what, I feel so good. I don't think I'm going to take my medicine.
I don't need to take this anymore.
Not true.
No, you need to take it.
That's why you feel good.
That's why you're feeling good right now.
And so why come on the show and share, Kate?
To help other people know that they're not alone. Because man, have I felt alone before. And I'm only 22, so there's probably the people out there who feel like me.
Do you still feel alone at times?
Sometimes, but like I said, my animals help me so much. And that's you just got to find what works for you. And animals work for me.
I'm glad you're here. Not just here in this radio station. I'm glad that you're here on this earth.
I'm glad to be here sometimes too.
We'll take that. We'll take it. All right. Nataliia, what do you do to get through, what you're going through right now? And why?
First of all, God is great.
Yes.
Every morning I wake up, first thing I do, I pray, and as proof of my prayers, all my relatives still alive with active shooting and bombing for 75 days. I mean, it's a miracle, and this is why we will need to keep going. I mean, we see a lot of miracle around. So as well, I see a therapist every Monday. Before, I start to see therapist, on my own, I bought like valerian roots. It's like herb, but it's helping very much, to calm down and stuff, because I'm driving a car and stuff. So I understand your responsibility. And at the point when I feel very, very down, I take challenge for myself, 100 days of gratitude with Nataliia Hays on Facebook, public, to, give promise myself and keep doing. So I start to concentrate on what I'm thankful for every day. And I keep going and posting, because it was too much of my attention on destruction of my city and how many people die and all this. So I kind of switch mode on, thankfulness. And as well, I start journaling, and I start to write poems. So basically, my soul start, maybe crying different ways on the paper, and I let it go. So sometimes, mostly it's in, Russian language, because first language Russian for me, second Ukrainian, and English third. So I keep thinking in Russian, and so my poetry is mostly in Russian. And what is, funny thing, even, why I want to share it right now, if you see, I have a copyright of my art, what I created. It's called Transformational Psychological Game. I'm the author and creator, and I have a certificate and of copyright. And what also, I'm teaching people how to facilitate my game in Russian, English, and Ukrainian language. So I have facilitators around the globe. Excellent. And right now, some of them helping me at this point. So when I need help, I ask in my people who I teach before help me right now. So again, I will repeat, don't be scared to ask for help, or look maybe a little bit weird or something and find help.
we need to look for help if we see and feel in our body, in our mind, and in how we act something different. We need to seek it as early we can. Don't wait, oh, it will be okay in 1 week maybe. No, it will not. So as soon as you can, find help. And even you are in position sometimes, you think I'm fine, or yeah, I can deal with it. Better ask, professional help, and after you make decisions.
Absolutely. And your faith is so strong. Your faith is so strong. And as a Christian myself, I have gone through turmoil and things that our God is big enough where we can ask him, what's going on? Why? And as people are losing their lives every second currently in the Ukraine, God is still good. Do you believe that God is still good?
Yes, I do. I just ask him every day, what can I do for Ukraine? And, what it's purpose behind all this. I may not understand in my brain, in my
humanness.
Yes, but it's something, and I feel behind this huge disaster and war, and many people die, but it is probably for us as human beings to be united, to speak again, to find help, to ask for help. And because probably we lost, like you said, all this connection. We are just human beings. We were created to love each other, to support each other, to be present. And many people behind all this Facebook, Instagram, they're hiding their true selves and showing beautiful picture. My life is beautiful, everything successful and everything. But sometimes we need to meet and talk like we doing today. And one time I just heard this message from God, just speak in English. It was my weakness. It was something what I step out and speak in front of people. I was like shaking and everything, but I do, and I will keep going, because something behind all this, what maybe I will not understand with my mind, but my spirit keep going, and I feel, and I'm present and witness how spirit of Ukrainian people going up when they see we are so far away on other part of the world, supporting them. When we showing them support, when wear ribbon or flag, or we going on rally, or even we're talking today, and they're not left behind. They know they loved, and someone collecting maybe pens or something for them, or send them humanitarian aid or food or something. It's amazing. I just witnessing how people around the globe united to help Ukrainians, and I'm so proud of each person who did amazing job. And I'm here talking about mental stuff because I'm dealing with it.
Yes,
and it's okay.
It's okay.
I will be fine because I'm taking care of it. And I told myself, and I was honest with myself, and I was seeking for help.
Very good. I love that. I love that. I love that when you get honest with yourself, then you can help yourself, because we alone cannot change, or we can't take it upon ourselves to stop something that is going on in the world. We can do our part, but when you start feeling drained and empty, that you can't give any more, that's when you need to go and seek help, or speak to a friend, or even in this room, the community is I love the feeling, because everyone here is struggling or dealing with something, but yet I feel at peace because everybody here understands everyone. And I think the world would be such a better place if everyone knew that it's okay. Break the shame, break the stigma. Stephanie, what are you doing, or what have you done or are doing to deal?
I have pretty much tried everything. From whenever I was suicidal, I actually reached out for help through the suicide hotline. I didn't call because I was ashamed. I didn't want to talk to anybody, but I was comfortable texting. So I actually texted for help 5 years ago, and the lady on the other end of that text, she was amazing. Things I hadn't even thought of. That the 5 deal. She did that with me. How to get my breathing under control. What's going on? They were there. They were not judgmental. They did not do anything except help and truly felt concerned about the situation. After about an hour, she felt comfortable enough to actually let me, quit texting, and still checked on me later the next following day. So that was one of my main things that actually helped save my life. Otherwise, things that we've done, I have probably gone through 20 years of medicine regimens, trying to find the balance of what works, because one thing may work for 10 years and then it just stops. And it's like, okay, we are back to square one. Where do we go from here? And then things have added on to my life. So from depression, then I ended up with PTSD, then I ended up with anxiety, you name it. It felt like the world kept piling things, but at the same time, there was other things. New meds started coming out. We were finally able to put, things together to make combinations, or what they call cocktails, with your meds to find what works. Reaching out, talking to people, getting a counselor. I was one of those. I was so ashamed. I did not want anybody to know what I was struggling with. Tried to deal with it on my own. That was the worst mistake I ever could have made in life, because I isolated myself already when I felt isolated. I felt abandoned, and I didn't want to burden anyone. So whenever I started asking for help, started telling people like, hey, this is what's going on. I feel crazy, but this is what is going on with me. I am known as the nap queen, because whenever I start getting anxious or I start getting sad, I'll just go take a nap. Whether I say it's a 20-minute nap, my mom makes fun of me. She's like, I'll see you in 3 hours. So, it's one of those things. You find kind of what works for you. Everybody is different. Everybody psychologically is wired different. Your chemicals, may click here, but not there. Medicine, reaching out for help, therapy. I found a lady in Burleson. I don't have insurance myself. She worked with me on payment arrangements. She actually cut her costs down to help me with a cash pay. So there are people out there that will help no matter what. Churches, I know there's a lot of pastors who will just sit down and talk to you as a counseling session. Goodness, and friends, make time for your friends. I am a busy girl. I am a full-time student. I'm a full-time single mom. I, you name it, I am an entrepreneur. I have a business already going. I'm in the process of starting another business now. But I have learned I need to start making time for my friends. So actually on Thursdays, I now, have dedicated that day to my best friends, so we can have our mommy time, our gossip time, our vent time. So we both, it's not only helping me, it's helping her too. So you have to make time for the ones you care about, the ones, just for your own mental health.
Absolutely.
And I mean, reach out anytime that you are struggling. My first thing is, okay, well, I'll turn to social media. I'm like, hey, let's find something to brighten my day. Let's find something to make me smile, whether it's, silly cat videos or, like what dog videos are going on now. You find things that, make you happy. If you are feeling sad, you are feeling triggered, I 100%, recommend, texting a hotline, calling a hotline, reach out no matter what you do.
And so is this the first time that you've come on and shared your story with?
Yes, this is, I am a newbie. I am an open book. So if anybody has any questions on chat, anything, I will answer. I don't have anything to hide. Yes, there is a lot of nervousness. Am I ashamed anymore? No, there is nothing to be ashamed of. I am just like every other human being. We all have our battles, whether it's with depression or with substance abuse. Somebody has something going on everywhere. So just talk. That's my main thing.
And look how far you've come.
Oh,
So
yes.
you've got share what degrees that you have. You went back to school.
I have an Associate of Arts. Like I went back to school because I had nothing. I was just a single mom. But I got an Associate of Arts. During 2020, I was like, what am I going to do? You can't do anything else. Get a degree. So I got my Associate of Arts in 2020. I am finishing up. I am supposed to walk this actual weekend for an Associate of Business. I actually have already signed up for my next 3 associate's degrees in management, marketing, and administrative. And I should be finalized with those next spring. So that'll give me 5 associate degrees. And then right after that, I have a scholarship opportunity with UTA. So I'll be able to get a double major and a minor within the next following year. So
Congratulations.
Yeah. So hopefully by 2025, I say 24, but I'm realistically 2025, I'll have 8 degrees under my belt.
Goodness.
So
Congratulations.
yes.
That's so
So
awesome.
goals, always
Yes.
have goals. Keep going forward.
Yes. Fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, ma'am. Crystal, what you got? What do you do today? Because we all discussed that we all still struggle daily.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me what you still struggle. You have your bouts with depression.
I do. My last big depression episode was when McKinley went to kindergarten, and I'm a stay-at-home mom with my only child, and there will not be a second child. It's just her. So she went to school, and I just felt like my life change, and I was, drinking at home, and just hit rock bottom.
Wow. I want to hear more about that. We're going to go a quick commercial break and we'll be right back. You guys tune back in.
Here's important new information from the Diabetes Solution Center for you, a family member, or a loved one suffering with diabetes. If you have lost your provider, or if you need a provider for diabetic supplies, you may qualify to receive your diabetic testing supplies now with little or no out-of-pocket cost, regardless of your age. All you need is Medicare or private insurance to be potentially eligible. Call the Diabetes Solution Center right now for details. Just takes a couple of minutes. Our friendly, knowledgeable agents will give you free, no-obligation information, handle all the insurance paperwork, and make sure your supplies are delivered directly to your door for free.
Call U.S. Medical Supply 24 hours a day. 800-597-9323. 800-597-9323. 800-597-9323. Call right now. 800-597-9323.
Out-of-date carpet giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the Floor Store in Cleburne, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the Floor Store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the Floor Store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleburne, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The Floor Store, they got you covered. When you're hungry for tender brisket or some delicious homemade cobbler, then look no further than Leech Brothers Barbecue, located at 1106 East Henderson, Cleburne, Texas. Leech Brothers has been family-owned and operated since 1950. Take it from me, Taco Joe Orwinski. Todd and his family have been filling my belly breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a long time. Heck, I even have my own booth, open Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come see them for dine-in, carry-out, and all your catering needs.
The voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio.
We are back to the conclusion of No Judgment here. Joco Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and is live 365 days a year on the TuneIn Radio Network. To listen or watch, simply go to tuneinjoco.com to choose where and how. The Joco Community Radio app is now available for free on Android and Apple devices. Simply search your store. Check out our lineup and more on jococommunityradio.com. This episode and more brought to you by Patriot Claims, making your insurance work for you. Reach out to your Texas sales rep, Nona Reed, at 844-839-4245. Thank you, Patriot Claims, for supporting our show. Also, if you have any questions or comments for any of our guests, you can type them in the thread and I will read them to our guest. You can also call 817-637-2585. That's 817-637-2585. We are at the last half of this special. There's actually a little text here for all of you ladies. It says, all you ladies are amazingly beautiful and brave to speak and share your stories. I pray that this not only helps you, but that it brings awareness to those who might suffer with and those who love those who suffer with this. Know that they are not alone. And also that they are not the only one who deals with this. Who is and what is normal? We all are different in our own ways. We all have our own struggles, but there are people who love us no matter what. He also commented on Stephanie's discussion about the naps. He says, I know about the nap/sleeping thing. That was usually a sign of struggle. And because his wife was bipolar as well, and unfortunately is no longer here. Okay, Crystal, you're back on. But one thing that we were chatting about during the commercial break is that because Crystal and I go to the same church, and what she was just getting ready to share, I was like, I had no idea. I didn't know that. And one of the things I think that is sort of a falsehood or untruth or maybe an idea is that people that go to church or people that are Christians don't have problems with things that people think, my goodness, I had no idea. And like I had shared with Crystal, and I'm not ashamed to share it, but when my son was killed in a motorcycle accident when he was 25, I thought it would be a good idea to numb the pain and just drink, and I did one evening, actually a couple of times, and that's why I no longer drink, because it was becoming a real issue, drinking to try to not deal with the pain that came from losing a child, which is, I mean, if you're a parent, you're a mom here, or you're a child, losing a child is, it's just excruciating. The pain is endless. It's daily. And wake up thinking about the child. You go throughout the day thinking about, wonder what would be going on. But I thought I could drink. And that didn't work. But so people think that people that go to church would never do that.
Correct. Yeah.
So Crystal, tell us about what you were dealing with.
So, like I said, once I finally got to that spot though, after like battling my head, I can't reach out to the people that I trust because I serve at our church all the time. I lead a group for moms at our church, and like, I shouldn't be in the spot again. Like I know my signs, and I let it go way too far without asking for help, and then you're to that shame part again. And I reached out to my small group leader actually, and I mean my husband had no idea because it was once he would like go to bed, and my best friend had no idea because I hit, and everyone's like, oh, we were so amazed at how good you were sending McKinley to kindergarten and how great you were doing. And I was like, I know she's doing so good,
And so are you. Not
so
really.
am I, and really not. And I'm telling you, once I called my small group leader from church, she was at my house within, like 15 minutes. And, there was no shame felt or given to me. The pastor, reached out, and I mean, it was, of course, filled with love and that. So I normally don't let my depression get to that spot. I love my counselor. I would walk around in a shirt that says go to therapy. It makes you amazing. I've never really had that problem of admitting that I go to counseling, and I go and I take medication, and I always will. And I think the trick for a lot of people, it's not with me anymore because I've been going through this for so long, but you can't stop your therapy or your medication when you're feeling good. And, there's a majority of times I'm better. I'm not, sulking, I guess, in my depression. So there'll be times where I talk to my therapist and it's like talking to a girlfriend because I don't have anything to really work through, but I'm not going to miss that appointment time just in case.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's a huge thing for people. And for me, exercising makes me feel really good. And so, and being in the Word, going to church, realizing when these thoughts are coming, it truly is a chemical imbalance for myself, but to also, so I was born this way, I say, but it's also the devil working against the good that I'm trying to accomplish and, do in life. And so it's therapy, medicine, friendship, and like she said about, her pet, she calls her babies, like, I have a daughter who, is my pride and joy, and I'm also a wife, and, I just, even if in the back of my head at the time, I might think I can't get through it, I know I can for them, but I'm not afraid to tell people I have depression anymore. It's not that it's common for me to talk about, but I'm pretty much, like she said, an open book, and I've shared my story before a couple of times, and I just don't want to see anybody else struggle the way that I have. Like, you're never going to get rid of depression or bipolar or anxiety, but it's truly knowing how to live with it and how to be okay that you have it, and there's nothing wrong with you, and you have support.
May I add, because it was a couple of points, and what you see today, it's a proof of I miss one therapy last week. So see, I'm crying. So it is proof we don't need to skip our therapists. We don't need to skip medicine, or we don't need to skip, because at one point you feel, yeah, I'm okay. Looks like I'm fine. You miss one therapy and you see my breakdowns today. You go on again on some like roller coasters, like up and down. So this is great point you said, and I want to all people, if you start, don't stop. Just if they told you 10 times, go 10 times. If they told you 1 month, do one, I don't know, whatever terms, but don't stop. You just feel, oh, I'm okay, already I can deal. No. So after it can be like go down very fast, very fast.
Yep.
What is your, and I'm going to ask everybody, what are you most proud of yourself?
Why did I get asked this first? This wasn't in our pre-discussion.
It wasn't in our pre-discussion. But I want, because you guys are all, I can look in your eyes, and you're all such beautiful women. And the fact that you all struggle with, I mean, it brings a lump to my throat to think that some of you have thought about ending your life. That puts a big, huge lump in my throat to think that, gosh, some of you I've just met and just spoken with on this level, but to think that after these conversations and how brave and beautiful that you guys are, to think that you would not be here, it breaks my heart. And so I want to know what you are so proud of yourself about today. And the second question is, and I'll start on the other side, is who are you today? Who is Crystal today? So you can.
I can. Yep.
Okay. What are you most proud of about
I think
yourself?
that kind of ties into who I am today, honestly, because I'm super proud of the mom that I am. I'm proud of the moms group I lead and serving at church and teaching at a school. And I feel like I'm always there for my friends and that I can really be a sound support board for them, even if I'm not feeling it for myself. And that's kind of who I am today, because that makes me the leader I am and the servant and the mom and the friend that I can be. And I think it ties in with going through the hard stuff, seeing the good stuff, and living your best life as well as you could. So that's my
Absolutely.
answer.
Good job. That was excellent answer.
Oh no, I'm not.
Stephanie, you're up.
Proudness. I actually have a few things. First and foremost, I am proud of myself for actually learning how to ask for help. That was the hardest, biggest step I have ever had to do in my entire life, was admit defeat within myself. So I am proud that I am still here, that I have asked for help, that I continue to work on myself and give myself, little pats on the back, like with school. Secondly, I am proud of my kids. My kids have dealt with this roller coaster of a mom all their lives. My oldest will be 18 in September. My youngest is 15. I don't know what I did to get such good kids. They are a blessing. So that is definitely my proud mom moment. And then what was the second part?
Who is Stephanie
See,
today?
That's the other mental. Stephanie today is outspoken. She is, well, I would say, I was going to say she's not scared. She's always scared. She's scared every day. But motivated. I am highly motivated now because I want to know why I'm here. I want to continue on and know.
I love that. Thank you. All right, Nataliia, what are you most proud of yourself for?
I'm it's hard, but today brings something, and probably it's more because of the war. Many of my stuff was kind of putting down, but maybe today is the moment. I'm so proud of this certificate. It's creation of my own in the Library of Congress in Washington. So something I created to the people to transform their reality. I created game which is included Bible, coaching, psychology, all in one. And I'm proud of myself today to tell about issues I have on my own, and I'm seeking for help. And today is Nataliia Hays, very proud of herself to be honest to herself, to be honest to people around, and she doesn't know. And I'm proud of myself. I'm finally speaking English without worrying about my accent and everything.
I love that. Thank you, Nataliia.
The thing I'm probably most proud about myself is that I'm still here, because I have tried to kill myself a couple of times. I didn't see myself making it out of high school. So the fact that I'm now have a job that I love, it's pretty great.
And who is Kate today?
She's still figuring that out.
I love that.
Still figuring it out. It's a daily struggle.
You're precious.
Thanks. I try.
All right, ma'am.
What I'm most proud of is that I have actually started to fully accept myself exactly as I am. I have stopped worrying about what other people think, probably a little too much. But I don't sweat the small stuff as much as I used to. I'm still always going to, because it's always going to happen. But just allowing myself to be okay that I'm not okay. It's kind of my mantra. It's okay to not be okay, and just being accepting of that, and just going through life, dealing with one thing at a time instead of trying to take on all the cares of everybody else.
Absolutely.
Is probably what I'm most proud of.
And who's Kaylee Kerr today?
Oh Lord, that's a loaded question. Who Kaylee is today? I'm a happier version of myself. I am slowly getting to, I have a favorite picture of myself. I'm probably no more than 3 years old. I have my hair in braids, and I'm wearing my favorite Blue Bunny t-shirt. And I turned around and my mom said, smile. And I was like, cheese, like the biggest smile I can get. I am getting to that picture where
Mm.
it is just sublime happiness because you're 3 and you don't have a care in the world.
Absolutely.
So that's who Kaylee is today, and she has her voice back, and now it's really kind of hard to shut up. So because I'm not going to let people let me anymore. So
I love that. We were just talking about today I was just talking with someone earlier about the genuineness of a child and how they don't care what they look like when they're excited about something. I can remember in a class that I was teaching that blowing bubbles, and these kids were just like going nuts, and they didn't care what other people thought about them, their reaction, what they were doing with the bubbles, just to care. And they didn't care. And the adults actually were looking at the children or their child so proud and so happy that their children were happy. And I wish that adults would be not judgmental.
Yeah.
And or we can get to a point where we don't care what people think. And when you get to that point, you are living your true, authentic, happy self because you're not worried about what anybody else thinks.
Phenomenal.
It is. It's such a great place to be. Okay, we have another comment. So Mike Ross says, I hope that anyone who is listening to this has really let it soak in. These ladies have shared and given some great pointers and some signs to look out for. Pay attention and just ask if everything is okay. Again, masking is often used to cover up one's feelings or emotional health due to just being ashamed. But don't let them suffer. Reach out and ask. Let them know that you are there for them and that you are concerned. That that might be what they need to just help them through their struggle. It's a kick in the gut for sure and heartbreaking to think about. Tracy Smith says, it's Kate's mom, thank you ladies for being brave and keep striving to be the best of you, no matter what that may be. We have a few minutes, about 8 minutes, and I just want us to go around if there's something that is most important to you that we didn't discuss, or something that you want to share with someone maybe who is even your age, Kate, that is feeling ashamed or is feeling like I can't go to my mom or dad and tell them, also like Crystal said, that I'm feeling this way because I may disappoint my parents. Give somebody your age something that, we learn from our failures. We learn from our mistakes, which, to say that I welcome failure, I mean, I don't know if I welcome it, but I appreciate it. And so I've learned a lot from growing and from being my age. And so with the 22 years of wisdom that you have, what is something that you can share with someone who might be in your position?
I mean, if you're really feeling like it and you don't want to go to your parents, you need to put yourself in your parents' shoes if they're without their child. Because that's one thing that kept me for a very long time from killing myself. When I was younger and I did it, I didn't understand. And then I was probably honestly at the age of 17, 18, and it hit me. My mom's already lost a child. I don't want to put my mother through burying another child. Because seeing my aunt kill herself and so seeing my grandparents lose a child, it's just, no parent should ever bury their child. So somebody my age, hopefully you still have your parents around. I mean, you don't want to make your parents go through that.
And so are you available if anybody wanted to talk to you?
Oh, no, yeah, 100%. Like these ladies said, I'm an open book. I would rather hear your story and listen to you vent for like 7 million hours than show up to your funeral.
Very good.
Yeah.
I love that. And I'll put these in the comments later, but the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 1-800-273-8255. There's also a crisis text line. You can text HOME, HOME, to 741-741. So if you're not able to talk, and you're in a crisis and you need to text, you can certainly text home, the word home, HOME, to 741-741. The mics are open. Anyone care to share any advice or anything that you want to say that you did not say, that this platform is yours to share?
Something that you mentioned that I was like, brain click, light bulb, was that if you're ever afraid your parents are going to be disappointed in you, your parents were kids too. So they messed up first.
Absolutely.
And
we
they
did.
probably were like, oh, my parents are going to be disappointed in me. So it's like, it's a vicious cycle almost, but you have to remember your parents were kids too. They're not going to be mad at you.
Right.
You know, so don't be scared to actually go up and say something like, hey, I messed up, you know, or this is what's happening. Because
Yes.
they might actually have more in common with you than you really think. So.
That is so true. And I will say that my daughter and I had this conversation recently because she was wanting to know, you know, about, well, Mom, what'd you do when you were younger? You know, I was like, oh, gosh, you know, so, okay, well, I'm going to be honest with you and tell you everything.
Yeah.
And really, because we had that conversation, she comes to me more with things that she's battling, or shared some things that she chose to do in the past. And I mean, I'm her mom and we love our children unconditionally. There's not one thing that we as mothers, that our children could do that would make us ever stop.
And I will
loving them.
add up to this as a parent, you know, maybe my advice or maybe reminder for all of us as a parent, have this conversation with your child and explain for them, if anything happened in your life, you try drugs or you drive and break the car or you in a wreck, I'm the person number one who you need to call. Remind them you will accept them as is, whatever, no matter, and you will be there for them. They need to know they going through their own struggles and they need to hear from us in, you know, on regular basis. We are there for them no matter what, and remind them you are number one person who they need to call. Don't hide. And even there with friends in trouble, you are parent who they need to call, and you will be there and you will find and you will help them to, you know, whatever. And as me personally, I would like to anyone who will reach me, I want to give you demo version of, you probably heard from me, transformational psychological game. It's maybe word you heard first time in your life. It's my creation, and it's already facilitated by people in 10 countries. And I'm proud of this, and it's helping for real. You can do free demo version with me. It's 3 cards. So you basically like playing a game, but it's very powerful and helpful at the moment to kind of pay attention on the situation, on yourself, and find maybe some clue or some answer at the moment. So welcome anyone, Nataliia Hays on Facebook, Nataliia Hays, Hays. Thank you.
I love that. And, you know, one thing that you were saying, Nataliia, is that, you know, if our children mess up, I mean, and we as parents messed up as well, but to not hide and to not be afraid to come and I mean, you wrecked the car, you got drunk, you whatever. But here's what I have to say to parents who, the expectations of raising a child that did no wrong, I want my child to be this, that, and the other. Okay, that's not going to happen, just so you know. And the Lord, our Father in heaven, we mess up as adults. We do or say things that I'm sure break his heart as well. But he doesn't punish us. He doesn't say, well, because you drove or had a drink or you got drunk at a friend's house, I'm going to withhold or I'm going to punish you. He doesn't do that. He disciplines us. He teaches us. We learn from his discipline. And I think that's what parents need to know, is that when a child makes a mistake and they have the courage to come to you and say, Mom, Dad, this is what I did. Please hear them. We don't condone bad behavior, but we also are so grateful when our children come to us that we try and love the way that our Heavenly Father loves us. He gives us so much grace. He forgives us every day. And through his word, I mean, I feel like I'm disciplined. And so parents, love your children unconditionally and know that it took a lot for them to come and talk to you. So love them. I love you ladies for coming on. I think that you guys did some good today, and I'm so appreciative of you guys sharing your voice. You guys have a good night. Thank you guys for joining us. See you next week.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, JOCO Community Radio.